All right, let's go back on the record. The record reflects the presence of all counsel. The defendant is present. All jurors are present. Welcome back. Jane Doe number 2 is back on the stand. There is a cup of water there for you. So, as I said before, if you ever feel like you get a dry mouth or you're parched, just take a sip of water, okay?
Okay.
All right. Now we're going to continue with cross-examination. So, Mr. Carlos, go ahead.
Just a few more questions for you. Before we broke, you talked about going under the freeway underpass, right? And you said you
Yes.
saw some people there, right?
Yes.
Do you recall the two guys jumping out from the...
I was walking down, they just jumped over a bridge thing and hid. And I didn't know why they did that. And it just made me nervous.
Did you think they were following you?
I didn't know what to think. I was just scared.
Do you remember telling someone that you thought they were following you?
I didn't know if they were following me. I just didn't know why they were there. I was afraid they might.
Ms. Doe, my question is, do you remember telling an officer that you thought they were following you?
I don't know if I probably did think they were following me. I just didn't know why they'd hide.
Ms. Doe, the question is, did you tell the officer that you believed these people were following you?
I don't remember telling the officer anything about that.
Wait, refresh your memory if you're able to see a transcript of your...
Okay.
Do you have a transcript? It's on page 5.
Okay.
It's easy to look at.
Okay.
Actually, it's right there. I just want you to read it. I just want you to read it. Go, read it to yourself. When you're finished reading, go ahead.
Well, so I told him, officer.
Just that one section.
Yeah, you sure that? I didn't know I shared it with the officer.
Okay, now that you've read it to yourself, he's going to ask you a follow-up question, so wait for the question. Go ahead, Mr. Carlos.
Did what you read refresh your memory? Just yes or no?
Say that again. Did I tell the officer?
Okay.
Did it say? I guess I did. I didn't know I did.
The question to you is, having just read the transcript, did that refresh your memory as to what you told the officer? Yes or no?
Yeah,
Yes.
but I already shared that.
Okay. So you did tell him that you believed that two people were following you.
I didn't know if they were following me. I was scared. I was just scared.
Okay. The question is, ma'am, Ms. Doe,
Yeah.
I'm just asking when you made the statement to that officer.
I didn't know that I did. I didn't know that I did.
But clearly you did make that statement.
Yeah, I guess I did.
And that would have been like the day after, right?
It was the day after the rape.
Likewise, the day after, you said earlier that you didn't tell Christina Garvey that Kevin made you wash yourself. You didn't say that.
No, I never said that.
And likewise, did you tell Christina Garvey that he, meaning Kevin, took advantage of you? You remember using those words?
Say that again?
Did you
Is
tell-
that I don't know what words I used.
Okay,
It doesn't sound like my words, but I don't know what I said to Christina. I just know she made me open up. I cannot remember
Can't remember.
anything of our conversation, just that she told me to tell the sheriffs.
Okay. So you're telling me that you don't remember anything that you told her about what happened to you?
No, I don't.
Okay, so if
I don't remember our conversation. I just remember talking to her.
and someone you don't recall telling anybody that Kevin took advantage of you? You don't recall telling
Anybody, you mean after the rape?
after the evening? Yes.
After the evening, no, all my friends found out, which I didn't want them to know. I just shared it with Christina and Sherry, and then it seemed like, those were the two people, and then other people would ask questions.
Okay, so Ms. Doe, let me ask you this. So you said all my friends found out.
It's like they all knew, but I didn't tell them at first.
Can you just give me a number? How many people were, what's the universe here? How many people are here?
I don't know. They were just there for me. They were supporting me.
I know, but how many people? Like 10, 15?
I don't know how many.
All right, so
I don't know how many. Because a lot of them aren't homeless anymore, so I can't. I don't know how many.
So there's a group of people who, after the incident, know somehow that you were taken advantage of by Kevin.
Right.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. And Kevin would be the person driving around in the big shiny Hummer, right?
The Hummer.
And the person who has been, in the area, making, contact with you for the better part.
Acquaintances.
But just
part.
make
Okay,
sure.
sorry. That he's done talking.
Okay, yeah, he has to completely finish the question before you give your answer. So, Mr. Carlos?
That's how I am in real life.
I know, in the courtroom, we have
I
to,
know, I'm sorry.
we can't talk over each other because the court reporter here can only take down one person at a time. So please,
Okay.
make sure he's finished speaking and give me a
Okay.
whole question before you give your answer.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead,
I'll
Mr.
try.
Carlos.
So these are the same people that heard that Kevin had taken advantage of you. These people also know that he drives the Hummer and he is in the area.
Objection lacks foundation and calls for speculation.
Overruled, you can answer if you know.
I don't know if they talked about the person.
All right,
I just-
next question.
And as far as you're aware, you are aware, it's you, who else did you talk to about, besides law enforcement, who else did you talk to about?
My brothers.
Okay. And finally, do you recall, when we talked earlier about the district attorney's office assisting you financially, remember that?
What, say that again?
We talked about the district attorney's office assisting you financially after this event and before the preliminary hearing. Remember that?
Assistant, are you talking about 2 weeks before the court?
What,
Or what are you talking
well,
about?
do you recall you received a gift certificate to Target for $200? You got that, right?
That was when it was right before court. Before that, I didn't get anything.
Right, but you got $200 from them before court, from them being the prosecutor.
I don't remember how much it was. I just know it's like 2 weeks before court, they did put me in a motel and paid for my food.
Right, so that would, you were in the hotel from the 26th of June the 27th of June to the 12th of July. Does that sound familiar?
Wasn't it, didn't I go to, I don't really know the dates. I just know it was for 2 weeks and it was right before court.
Okay, so for a couple weeks, you were off the streets, you were in a hotel,
A motel, yeah.
with, a bed and shower and everything, right?
Yes,
And you were also given money for food,
yes,
and you were given a gift certificate to Target.
yes.
Nothing further.
All right, redirect.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Doe, just those last couple of questions about when it was that you stayed in a motel and what you were given by the district attorney's office. Do you remember whether or not there was a postponement of the preliminary hearing from June 28th to July 11th? Do you remember that happening last year?
I think so.
When you say that you were staying in a motel, were you given any cash, any actual money or currency to buy any food?
I think I was given just $20 for just things like I need, like buying shampoo or something.
Personal items, right?
Yes,
Were you given a gift card to purchase groceries for yourself?
yes,
Were you actually driven to the motel and then driven to court when you were needed?
yes.
Now, in preparation for your testimony in trial, have you also been put into a motel in order to be brought to court?
Yes, just these last 2 days.
And were you in fact staying there last night and the night before, just in case you may testify as early as yesterday?
Yes.
Now, did you report this crime by the person you knew as Kevin because you thought the district attorney's office might put you in a motel?
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know how the courtroom worked. I thought he'd be seeing a lawyer. How would I know?
Let me ask you this. This morning, Mr. Carlos asked you a number of questions about your prior statements and your testimony at the preliminary hearing. And Mr. Carlos specifically said, you've never said before that the man had a weapon under his sweatshirt. Do you remember that question this morning?
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't it true that at the preliminary hearing, you were asked, was he holding on to you while he was having sex with you in that way? And you responded, I can't remember.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Were you asked what happened after that? And you answered, I was just waiting for it to be over, and then he turned around and ejaculated, and then he told me to put my clothes on and get in the car.
Mm-hmm.
I got in the car, and he put a head on. He had like something underneath his sweatshirt. I thought I was dead. I thought that was the end of my life. Do you remember testifying to that?
I know that's, I don't know what I shared at the preliminary. I just know that's what I thought I saw.
Your Honor, well, would it refresh your recollection to read the transcript of the preliminary hearing? Can I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Yeah.
And for counsel? Yes, of course. Beginning on page 210, line 28, and the portion I just read extends on to page 211 until line 6. Just directing your attention to the bottom.
I can't.
I'll make it larger. 1 second.
No, this is the preliminary, this is the other
Go
court
ahead and take a
hearing.
second.
This
Yeah,
is-
just read it to yourself, don't read it out loud.
Yeah.
Beginning there,
Oh.
and continue reading. Let us know when you're done reading. Does that refresh your recollection as to when you made that statement at the preliminary hearing?
It's just so long ago.
You're saying that?
It feels like ages ago. I know I thought that, I didn't remember sharing that, but I remember being afraid.
And everyone understands that it's been some time. This was last July.
Yeah.
But does that refresh your recollection? Does that remind you that you testified to that at prelim?
No, not really.
Okay. So then let me ask you, do you remember testifying when asked, you mentioned that he put on a hoodie, is that right? And I'm referring to
Yes.
line 17 here.
Yes.
And you responded, yes. After he got in the car, he put on a hoodie.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that?
Yes.
And were you asked, did you believe that he may have had some form of weapon or something, that
Yeah.
referring to the something being under his sweatshirt? Do you recall that?
Yes.
And you answered yes?
Yes.
And you were asked, is that what you were describing? And you answered yes, something under his sweatshirt.
Yes.
And then you were asked, when you say that you thought you were done, what do you mean? And you
I
said,
thought sorry.
and how did you respond if you remember?
I just thought it was the end of my life.
Did you say, I thought I was going to be dead, I thought it was the end of my life?
I don't remember that, I just thought it was the end of my life.
Is that in fact what you testified to then and what you were thinking when this happened?
That's what I was thinking when this happened.
Now, you spoke to the sexual assault nurse examiner the same day that you reported this to the police, correct?
Yes.
When you spoke to the sexual assault examiner, I know we touched upon it during your direct examination, but she asked you about what had happened the night before, right?
Is that a yes?
Yes.
All right.
I can't remember, I think she talked to me along with two women.
Objections asked and answered.
Oh, okay, sorry. I think,
Just a
I
moment.
think so,
Just a
with
moment.
another lady.
Wait, just a moment, there's an objection. The objection is that it was asked and answered about what she told the sexual assault nurse?
She spoke to her.
Okay, well, I think it's foundational, the court will allow it. Next question.
Thank you. Do you remember, in fact, telling the sexual assault nurse that you thought that he had a weapon of some sort?
I don't remember.
Would it refresh your recollection to refer to the narrative portion of the section of the sexual assault nurse's report?
Mhm.
Is that a yes?
Oh,
Is that yes?
what do you want to do? You want me
Would
to
you
look
like to
at?
read, would you like to read it to
Sure,
refresh your memory?
Sure.
I just need to remind you that when you say mm-hmm
Yes.
instead of yes,
I
the
know.
record's not clear, so we'll always ask you to clarify that.
That's okay.
Counsel, that's page 9 and 10 on the sexual assault nurse examiner's report.
I can't read.
Here, I'm going to direct you to the specific part so you can take a look at it. That's the last paragraph. Does that refresh your memory of what you told her?
Not really, but
Okay.
I mean, I can't imagine not sharing.
Didn't you tell her, we got in the car and got dressed? I told the guy he had a weapon or something. I said, please just take me home. He said, if you tell anybody, I will murder you, and he looked straight ahead. Is that what you remember telling the nurse?
I don't remember, you know, what I told her, the nurse, because I talked to so many people that day and repeating. And so I don't.
As best you sit there today, were you attempting to be honest and accurate with the nurse and the deputies and the detectives who talked to you about what happened?
Yes. Yeah, that is.
Just one moment, Your Honor.
All right.
Nothing further, thank you.
All right, any recross?
Ms. Doe, when you spoke to the SART nurse, did you told her that this guy Kevin put his hands around your throat, correct?
I share my story with so many people. I don't know exactly what I shared with her. I can't imagine not leaving that part out.
Well, I mean, you knew that you were there for an examination of your physical
Yes,
stuff, correct?
yes.
And you knew that the questions were all related to this assault that you sustained, correct?
Yeah.
So you would have probably talked about the hands in the throat.
I'm sure I must have.
Okay. Do you recall whether you told that nurse that this person put his hands around your throat in a way that he wouldn't leave any marks?
You know, I probably did because I thought he was really smart.
Okay, so
Just because he ejaculated and he's like, it's like he's not trying to leave anything behind.
So it's your memory then that you may have told her that this person, you know, put his hands on your throat and it was in a way that would not leave any marks.
Yeah, he had
No.
for somehow, just the way he did it and how he did it and how high he did it, that's what I thought. I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a police officer. That's the way I thought of the situation.
Question, Ms. Doe, listen to my question.
I know I can't believe so, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Listen to my question is, did you tell the nurse that?
I could have, because that's what I thought.
Even then, that you could have told her that, right?
I could have.
And isn't it true that you told her that you were being strangled for like 2 minutes?
It wasn't strangled, it was choked.
Choked?
I can't remember my conversation with her. I talked to so many people that day.
And how long do you think you were being choked for?
It was, I don't know how long it was.
Was it a minute, 2 minutes?
I don't know how long it was. He was just telling me not to scream anymore, and if I scream, he'll murder me or choke me to death. I don't know which it was, and I could barely talk because my voice box or whatever it was, I was just, please, if you don't hurt me, I won't scream.
So you're
I'm just very tired, sir.
So you're, we're almost done, we're almost done,
Okay.
okay? I promise, we're almost done. So you said your voice box was injured?
Yeah, I don't know if it was injured, I was just talking funny.
Right. So did you tell that to the nurse? Did you tell her that your voice box was hurt, you're talking funny because you were strangled?
I don't know if I told her that. I just told her that, I'm sure I just told him that, please don't hurt me. I won't scream if you don't hurt me.
I'm asking what you told the nurse.
I don't know what I told the nurse. I talked to so many people that day.
Okay. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, anything further?
No, thank you.
All right, can this witness be excused?
She may.
Your Honor, I'm requesting that you remain subject to recall.
Okay,
We have
all right,
4 minutes.
you are, but she's done for the day.
She is.
All right, so you are done for the day. You are excused for today, but you are still subject to recall, which means one of the parties may ask that you come back to testify. So you're not released from the subpoena yet. You're still subject to recall, but you're done for the day.
Okay.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir.
Have a nice day, ma'am.
Oh,
You
okay.
can go out the back.
Okay.
Do you have everything? Okay, have a nice day. Next witness,
Thank you. The people now call Deputy Chad Latonio.
all right?
You do solemnly state that the testimony you are about to give in the matter now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
If you would, please have a seat at the witness stand. And if you would, please state your name and spell your first and last name for the record.
Chad Latonio, first name C-H-A-D, last name L-A-T-O-N-I-O.
Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, Deputy Latonio.
Good afternoon.
Direct examination?
Thank you, Your Honor. Deputy Latonio, please tell the jury what you do for a living.
I'm a deputy sheriff for the San Diego County Sheriff's Department.
How long have you been with the Sheriff's Department?
I've been with the Sheriff's Department approximately 6 years and 3 years in a patrol capacity.
Are you currently in a patrol capacity at the Encinitas substation?
Yes, I am.
As of May 13th and into May 14th of 2018, were you working as a patrol deputy in the area of Encinitas?
Yes, I was.
On May 14th of 2018, did you receive a dispatch to respond to the Encinitas Transit Center to obtain an initial report of a sexual assault?
Yes.
Do you recall what time it was that you responded to the Encinitas Transit Center?
It was approximately 2 p.m.
Now, On the 14th, that afternoon, did you come in contact with a woman by the name of Jane Doe 2? That's how we're referring to her for purposes of this trial. Is that okay?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Now, when you spoke to her, did she tell you that a man named Kevin she had met him about 6 months ago?
Yes.
When you spoke to her that day, did she tell you that he had pulled up next to her and asked if she needed assistance when she was walking with her luggage?
Objection,
Yes.
hearsay. This testimony has been given.
It is admissible as a prior consistent statement or evidence code section 791. Do you want to be heard on that?
Yes, Your Honor, that this,
Oh, no, not in front of the jury. I mean at sidebar.
yeah, please.
Okay. Right, we'll do it at sidebar. So on the record. All right, you can all stand up and take a fresh break if you want. Be all set? Okay, we are now meeting in the presence of the jury, and Mr. Owens, you can continue your direct examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Did Jane Doe number 2 tell you on May 14th, when you met with her at the Encinitas Transit Station, that approximately since 6 months back, she had met a black male adult who goes by the name of Kevin?
Yes.
Did she tell you that she was walking with her luggage when Kevin pulled up next to her and asked if she needed help?
Yes.
Did she say that she told him yes?
Yes.
Did she say that Kevin then helped her and her luggage go from point A to point B, where she was driven by him?
Yes.
Did she say that over time that she had brief contacts with Kevin around Encinitas?
Yes.
Did she say that the contacts consisted of various greetings and passing?
Yes.
Did she say that she was never in any dating relationship with Kevin?
Yes.
Did she say she never had any sexual relations with him and never did anything that would lead him to believe she desired sexual relations with him?
Yes.
Regarding the events of the prior evening, did she report to you what happened on May 13th of 2018?
Yes.
Did she tell you that she was staying or hanging out with her two friends, Christina and Mike?
Yes.
Did she say that at about 8 p.m. or sometime thereafter, a black male adult pulled up in his black Hummer and asked her to grab coffee with them?
Yes.
Did she accept that invitation and get into the Hummer with them?
In other words, you're asking if that's what she told him?
Is that what she told you?
Yes.
Did she just give you a physical description of the male?
Yes.
What was the description she gave you?
She said the male was approximately 6 feet to 7 feet tall. He was very, he had a very muscular build. He weighed over 200 pounds. He had black hair, brown eyes.
Did she say whether he had any facial hair or not?
Clean shaven.
Did she describe his age?
She said he was in his 30s.
Did she say what he was wearing?
She said he was possibly wearing all black because that's what he typically wears whenever she sees him.
Did she describe whether he had any tattoos?
Yes.
How did she describe his tattoos?
She said he had abstract line tattoos on the right arm and a half a sleeve on the left arm. She wasn't sure the design on the left arm.
Did she describe the right arm as being a sleeve tattoo?
I would have to refer to my report to refresh my recollection. I believe it was the right arm that had the line, the abstract line art.
All right. If it would refresh your recollection, please do. And I am asking you as it relates to his right arm. Directing your attention to page 6 of 8 in the first paragraph, third line.
It was the right arm that had the sleeve tattoo with thick line patterns.
Did she say that he also had half a sleeve tattoo on his left arm?
Yes.
And she wasn't able to give you a further description of the patterns on the left arm, was she?
No.
Did she describe the Hummer that he was driving as a newer model?
Yes.
Was she unable to recall any other specific characteristics about it?
She said it was black, but she couldn't recall anything specific about it.
Where did she say she went when she got into the Hummer with him? Where did he drive her?
He drove north on Vulcan Avenue, and then he turned eastbound on Encinitas Boulevard, and then southbound on El Camino Real.
At that point in time, did she believe she was going to get coffee with him, according to her statement?
Yes.
What did she say? What did she say she was thinking as she was being driven now to this area down El Camino Real?
She said she became a little bit wary because there weren't any coffee shops open around that time. So she was wondering if he was taking her to Denny's.
Did she refer to Denny's as being the one in Del Mar, possibly?
Yes.
Did she, in fact, tell you that she asked the person she knew as Kevin if he was taking her to a Denny's in Del Mar?
Yes.
And did she say whether he responded?
Can I refer to my report?
Yes, if it would refresh your recollection. Please do. Second paragraph, third line of page 6.
He replied yes.
Did she describe a place where the person she knew as Kevin then made a U-turn and pulled over?
Yes.
How did she describe that place?
She said she was on Manchester Avenue. She believes that they passed a Chevron near the I-5 freeway. And then after they passed the 5, he then made a U-turn and continued north on El Camino Real from Manchester Avenue.
Did she say what she began to think at that point in time?
May I refresh my recollection?
Yes, please do. And while you do that, let me ask you a follow-up question.
She said it seemed too late for coffee shops to be open.
And specifically as to what she was thinking at the time after he had made a U-turn, could she tell you what was going through her mind?
She began feeling suspicious and questioned Kevin's motives.
Now, just so the jury's aware in terms of your report writing, let me ask you this. Do you prepare a police report shortly in time after an initial statement is actually obtained from a reporting party?
Yes.
Did you do so in this case?
Yes.
Do you recall when specifically you drafted your report based upon Jane Doe 2's statement on May 14th, 2018?
Had to have been at least a few hours after the incident.
Can you just explain to the jury how it is that you prepare a report in relation to obtaining the statement? What's your regular habit and custom?
Typically after we take a statement, or take any report in general, we try and complete the report by the end of shift.
And when you're actually taking the information from the reporting party, are you taking notes down on a deputy issue or on a department issue notepad while they're providing you with the information?
Yes.
And do you take those shorthand notes down consistent with your training and experience as a police officer?
Yes.
Do you then draft a report based upon the notes that you have obtained from the reporting party?
Yes.
Now, as it relates to this statement, we're going through piece by piece based upon what she told you there at the Encinitas Transit Center on the afternoon of May 14th, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So when you asked her about what happened and she began to describe this to you, were you jotting down notes contemporaneously with when she was making the statement?
Yes.
Now, Did she tell you after the U-turn and she began to grow suspicious where it was that the person she knew as Kevin ultimately parked his Hummer?
Yes.
How did she describe that location?
She said it was on the shoulder somewhere on Manchester Avenue.
Did you ask her whether or not she may recognize the area if you took her to it?
Yes.
And what'd she say?
She said she possibly could recognize it again.
Did she say what happened after Kevin parked the Hummer?
She said she exited his vehicle and then approached the passenger side where she was seated.
What did she say she was then thinking when he approached the passenger side after getting out of the Hummer?
She said she began to feel fearful.
Did she say what she did?
She said she locked the doors.
What did she say happened after that? What did he do?
He unlocked the doors with his key fob.
And what did he do after unlocking the doors?
He told her that they were going to have sex.
Did she tell you what she said back after he said we're going to have sex?
She said, please don't do this.
Did she say how many times?
At least 3 or 4 times.
Did she say how the person she knew as Kevin responded to her when she said, please don't do this?
If I could refresh my recollection, just so I know verbatim.
Please do. And did you in fact put it in quotes within your report?
I did.
How was it that Kevin responded to her when she said, please don't do this?
We're going to have sex. It's a done deal. We're going to
Judge,
do
that was
this.
reading from the report?
Well, just for, if it's in quotes, just for sake of accuracy, did you put it in quotes exactly what she told you?
Yes, I did.
All right, I will allow it to make sure it's accurate. You can go ahead and read it directly from the report, the part only in quotes.
It's a done deal. We're going to do this. I wouldn't fight it.
All right, next question.
Thank you, Your Honor. What did she say she did after he had said that to her?
She began to take off her pants
Did she say why she took off her pants?
because she was scared.
Did she say whether or not he helped her remove her pants?
She couldn't remember.
Did she say he may have helped her, but she couldn't remember because she was scared?
Yes.
Did she say whether or not she was wearing underwear?
She said she was not.
Did she say whether she was wearing the same pants while she was speaking with you that she had worn at the time of this incident?
Yes.
Now, did she say whether or not she had washed them at any point in time between the incident and when you were speaking to
Objection,
her?
Your Honor. Hearsay, these questions weren't even asked, I believe.
They were, Your Honor.
This testimony was elicited. Well, come on.
So the pants that she was wearing, she could not recall.
Okay, I'll allow it. Overruled.
See, she said she had not washed the pants.
They were the same pants that she had worn during the assault?
Yes.
Now, did she tell you what the person she knew as Kevin then did right after he may have helped her remove her pants, but when her pants had been removed?
Yes.
What did she say that the man did?
He pushed her up against the passenger's seat of the vehicle with her back against it, and then pushed her legs up towards her head.
Did she say what he then did after he pushed his legs up towards her head in that way?
He put his penis in her vagina.
Did she know whether he was wearing a condom?
He was not wearing a condom.
Did she say what he then did?
He had sex with her for approximately 1 to 3 minutes, and then turned her around so that her back was facing him.
Did she say that he pulled her out of the vehicle, stood her up, and bent her over the front passenger seat?
Yes.
Did she say that he then penetrated her anus with his penis?
Yes.
What did she say she did after he penetrated her anally?
She said she started screaming.
What did she tell you on May 14th that he did after she started screaming?
He then pulled his penis out, turned her around. He choked her with both his hands. And he said, if you don't stop screaming, I'm going to kill you.
What did she say back to him as he was choking her with his hands?
She said she'd cooperate.
Did she specifically say, and did you specifically put in quotes, "I won't scream if you don't hurt me"?
Yes.
Did she say that the man she knew as Kevin then turned her around again, bent her over, and proceeded to have vaginal intercourse with him, with
Yes.
her? Did she say how long that then lasted after he had choked her in the way she described?
About 5 minutes.
Did she say what happened after you continued having sex with her vaginally?
He then pulled out and ejaculated.
Did she say where he ejaculated if she knew?
She believed he did not ejaculate inside of her, and he did not ejaculate on her clothing.
Did she say if she saw where he ejaculated?
She did not.
Now, what did she say the man she knew as Kevin told her after he had ejaculated?
He said he had her put her clothes back on and get inside the car, and he told her that if she told anybody, he would kill her.
Did she say where she was dropped off by this man?
She said it was somewhere on Manchester Avenue near an apartment complex.
Now, did she say whether or not she had any belongings with her when she was in his vehicle?
Yes.
Did she describe the belongings that she had?
Yeah, it was a black fanny pack filled with miscellaneous personal items.
Did she say whether she had a purse with her?
She described that as her purse.
Okay. Now, after you had spoken to her about what had happened, did you explain to her that based upon what she had reported to you, that there would be a detective who would be assigned to the case to follow up with her?
Yes.
Was she willing to meet with that detective?
Yes.
Did you explain to her the possibility of completing a sexual assault examination with a nurse?
Yes.
Was she willing to participate in one?
Yes.
After you spoke to her and took her initial statement, or let me ask it this way, is it fair to say that you were the very first point of contact from law enforcement with Jane Doe 2 on that afternoon?
Yes.
After you spoke to her, did you make arrangements to contact a detective who would follow up with her?
Yes.
Was that a detective by the name of Adrian Moses, at least
Yes.
one of the detectives involved?
Yes.
Did you likewise have any communication or coordination with Detective John Johnson from the sexual assault unit?
No.
Is it fair to say that you passed it off to the area detective who then later passed it off to the sexual assault unit?
Yes.
When you were explaining to her her options as it related to the sexual assault examination itself, did you tell her that she had the option of having a support person with her?
Yes.
And did you tell her that she had the option of discontinuing the SART examination if it became too painful for her?
Yes.
After you spoke to her and took this initial statement, did you transport her to the San Diego Sheriff's Department substation in Encinitas?
Yes.
How would you describe her demeanor at the time that you were talking with her on May 14th?
She was a bit emotional, but I had never talked to her before, so she seemed normal to me.
Thank you. Nothing further, Your Honor.
All right, Ross? Thank you, Your Honor. Officer Latonio, she told you that they had about 10 interactions, isn't that right?
Yes.
And she never told you that they discussed sex for money, did she?
No.
And you specifically asked her about were there any sort of sexual discussions or anything like that nature between Kevin and Jane Doe 2?
I believe I asked her if they had ever had any sort of sexual relationship in the past, and if she had ever conveyed any sexual inclination toward Kevin.
And at that point, she did not tell you that, well, Kevin asked me for sex for money. She didn't tell you that, did she?
No.
She told you that this individual choked her, right?
Yes.
And did she tell you that the individual choked her in a way that it wouldn't leave any marks?
She did not.
She said that he just put both hands around her neck and choked her very hard, right?
She didn't say very hard. She just said that he choked her.
Oh, he choked her hard enough that she couldn't breathe, right?
Are you asking what she told this deputy?
Correct. She told you that he choked her so hard that she couldn't breathe.
May I refer to my report?
Sure, that would help correct your recollection.
She did not say that he choked her to the point where she couldn't breathe.
Have you viewed the body-worn camera footage of you interviewing her?
I have not.
Okay. She didn't tell you that he ejaculated in the dirt so as to not leave any evidence, did she?
She did not. She didn't know where he ejaculated.
Right. In fact, she said that she didn't even see where he ejaculated, right?
Correct.
All she knew was that it wasn't on her,
She believed it wasn't on her. Correct.
but she didn't know anything other than that, right?
Correct.
Nothing further.
All right, anything further?
No, thank you.
All right, can this witness be excused?
You may.
Yes, sir.
You can? Okay, all right. Thank you very much, Deputy Latonio. You are excused.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Thank you. Next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. People now call San Diego Sheriff's Department Detective Adrian Moses.
All right. Does anybody need to take a break at all? Don't forget, if anyone ever needs to take a break for any reason, don't be bashful, just raise your hand and let me know, okay?
If I could ask you to raise your right hand. You do solemnly state that the testimony you are about to give in the matter now pending before this court shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? If you would, please have a seat at the witness stand. And if you would, please state your name and spell your first and last name for the record.
Adrian Moses, ADRIAN MOSES.
Thank you.
All right, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Direct examination?
Thank you, Your Honor. Deputy Moses, can you tell us what you do for a living?
I am a sergeant with the San Diego County Sheriff's Department.
Pardon me, congratulations on the promotion.
Thank you.
I'll refer to you as sergeant. Now, what is your current assignment with the Sheriff's Department?
I am a patrol supervisor for the Vista Patrol Station.
Prior to your tenure and promotion to sergeant of the Vista Patrol Station, did you work as an area detective within the Encinitas substation of the Sheriff's Department?
I did.
As of May of 2018, were you working in capacity as an area detective there?
I was.
On May 14th of 2018, were you assigned to the initial follow-up investigation to a first crime report taken by Deputy Chad Latonio?
I was.
And did you in fact meet with and take a further statement from a person by the name of Jane Doe 2?
I did.
Now, I'm going to ask you about some of the follow-up investigation that you did. specifically as it relates to identifying a potential suspect based upon the description provided by her. Was the description given to you, as well as Deputy Latonio, of a black male driving a newer black Hummer in the Encinitas area with tattoos that extended from his wrist up to his shoulders?
Yes.
Did you, based upon that information, have any potential suspects that may match that description?
A detective that was assisting me had said that he had been informed there was possibly someone who matched that description.
When you spoke to Jane Doe number 2, did she provide you with a name that she believed was the suspect?
She described him as introducing himself as Kevin.
Who was the suspect that you had based upon the information of the physical description given to her, the description of the vehicle, and your conversation with another detective?
I'm sorry, could you ask that again?
What was the true name of the suspect that you then had based upon all of the information at that point?
Kellen Winslow.
And how was it that you arrived at Kellen Winslow being a potential suspect in the case?
The detective who was assisting me had spoken, I believe, to Deputy Latonio, and through their conversation, felt that he matched the description that she had given.
And is it the information, at least as it related to what you did next in the investigation, were you aware that Deputy Latonio had had prior contact with Mr. Winslow while he had been driving a black Hummer?
Judge, Your Honor, hearsay?
Not offered for his truth, Your Honor.
Overruled, the answer will be permitted.
Yes, as I recall, Deputy Latonio had told me he took a...
And that, if that's
yes.
the only information that I'm asking.
All right, Mr. Knapp, why don't we approach sidebar on the record, just briefly?